Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, wow, yeah. Anywho, I'm down at the Fresh Roots Cafe, and I want to talk again about healthcare, because healthcare is a very important topic, and it's very near and dear to me. The fact that I benefit from universal public healthcare, the fact that both of my parents are alive because of the Canadian healthcare system, the fact that a lot of people who I know and love are alive because of public healthcare in Canada. That's a very important thing to remember. And let's be honest, we don't pay more tax than Americans do. We pay less, but we get health care. Which is to say, we get good things, not bad things, because, well, American taxes go to paying armed thugs to gun down housewives in Minneapolis, whereas Canadian taxes go towards paying for health care. Health care. Always remember, Canadian taxes pay for health care. And apparently, gunning down housewives in Minneapolis is very expensive, so yeah. So, one of the benefits of public health care is every year I have an annual physical, for which I pay $0.00. And in exchange, I get screened for all the various forms of cancer that run in my family, and all the various fun forms of cancer that come from being an adult male over the age of 55. I am pushing 60, yes. And yeah, public health care means that I can get thoroughly checked once a year, and I don't have to worry about a doctor bill bankrupting me. And if they find cancer, it gets treated. And again, I don't get a doctor's bill. Because in Canada, we value a healthy public. A healthy proletariat can be more effectively exploited for profit by the capitalist class. Funny how a socialist program benefits capitalism, huh? Yeah. So I'm going off on a side tangent here. While I was in the cafe, eating lunch, I was visited by a couple friends of mine who are, in fact, active practicing Christians, one of whom studied for the clergy and left seminary in disgust at the corruption of the church. And the other is a very nice gentleman who, they're polar opposites. They're both devout Christians, though. And they were struggling with a question. There's a passage in the Bible that says it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, that's right there in the Bible. And they were both asking, how the hell? How the actual fucking hell do American evangelical fundamentalists justify their greed, crass materialism, corruption, and constant one-upping of each other in terms of trying to be the richest guy around? Good question. So we did agree that Jerry Falwell is being roasted in hell as we speak. Highly appropriate for the man being such a fat pig. We also agreed that Pat Robertson is also burning in hell. And we agreed that Kenneth Copeland and Kent Christmas are all well on their way to the same fate. along with pretty much every other American evangelical fundamentalist preacher. Every single one of them is going to be handed a pitchfork and not a halo. Now, personally, I don't believe it myself, but they both took great comfort from it, and I was not going to shatter their happy moment. Just no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, the idea of all these corrupt, greedy, and offensively evil evangelicals burning in hell forever kind of rings poetically just, don't you think? Public health care works. And how it works is very simple. You allocate sufficient tax revenue to fund and finance public health care, including paying the wages of the doctors. This, of course, means that you need to prioritize the health of the public over the profit margins of the investor class, which is actually a good idea, because a healthier public is, as I've said, much more profitable to be exploited by the capitalist class, so that ultimately the investor class benefits from public health care, just not as quickly. So yeah, ultimately, public health care is a public good that benefits everybody. And in every country that has tried it, it has worked. And no, there are no slave doctors. There are doctors who are paid regular wages. And yeah, the health care is every bit as good as a private for-profit system. It's just available to everybody. For public health care to work, the government has to care about the public health. The government has to give a damn about the health and well-being of the common people, the proletariat, to the point where they want a healthy proletariat. And they are willing to make the long-term investment, which ultimately returns dividends not in the next quarter, but in the next generation. Because, yeah, nobody ever got rich off public health care in their own lifetime, but the overall societal benefits enrich everybody. And I think that's why Americans don't like public health care. Because it's not about making me rich now. It's about making us rich later. Public health care works, but only if government is willing to invest the money in long-term plans and long-term thinking. And yeah, unfortunately, too many governments and politicians only do short-term thinking. They think about the next financial quarter or the next election cycle, rather than thinking about, as I said, the next generation. To have public health care work, you need politicians who think about the next generation. Yeah, anywho, that's enough out of me. What do you think? Comment below.